Welcome to the Wrestling Universe channel. My name is Cosk. I am joined by Andarell, and today we have a new series debuting on the channel. In wrestling, we always complain about booking. It's always like, why aren't they booking this guy right? Why aren't we booking that guy right? This guy could do this, that guy could do that. So I thought, how about instead of complaining, we take over. We take over the lead, and we say in detail what we would like them to do. So today we will be focusing on three wrestlers: AJ Styles, Cedric Alexander, and Keith Lee. This was meant to be a three-person podcast, but one of us had to pull out, unfortunately. So I will be representing Jordan. I will be his lawyer. He sent me his ideas on his phone, on my phone, and I will be reading them out for him. So how are you, Andrea?
I'm good. I'm good. Just ready for this. Excited to be on now on camera for the first time. So yeah.
If you like this idea, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, make sure to show your support for the idea, because the continuation of the series depends on your support. If you guys like it, if you guys comment, then we will continue this series. If you guys, aren't the biggest fans, we'll say, okay, we get it, and we'll move on to something else. We're a new channel, we're trying to see what sticks, and we appreciate your support. But let's not, beat around the bush any further. The first name on the list is AJ Styles. Andrel, I will give you the lead, and then I will read out Jordan's ideas after you're done.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So my idea with AJ Styles is that we have a US title match. Austin Theory, of course, is the champ. He defends against, let's say, Butch. During the match, Theory is having problems. Butch is really good, as a lot of people know already. But during the match, Styles suddenly shows up, and no one really knows what's going on until he distracts Butch and helps Theory retain. It's then revealed that Styles is now the manager of Theory and helping him really get to the next level. A few weeks later, Street Profits have a match against the tag team champions, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And it's the same story in that match. Profits have problems because Zayn and KO are really good. But suddenly Styles and Theory shows up doing this. And they help the Street Profits win the tag titles. And it's then announced that Styles have created this faction, is the mastermind of it all. His plan is to help guys that he know can be the future really get to that level. So they just start running around with SmackDown, beating basically everyone. And that continues for 4 months or so until we get to the Royal Rumble. And we have all these guys in that match, of course. They are all helping each other. But at the end of the day, a lot of them gets eliminated. 29 guys have to get eliminated, so all of them basically does. But Styles stays in the match, and at the end of the day, he wins the Royal Rumble. He is now having to choose who he will face at WrestleMania, and he chooses his opponent to be Roman Reigns. Which is going to be really interesting. We have these two heels that have faced a very long time ago. But yeah, Styles keeps going with his faction. It's going good. Roman is kind of not really having a lot of allies anymore. Usos is doing their own stuff. So he basically only have Paul Heyman at this point.
Solo
But then
leaves?
there's that. What?
Solo leaves?
Solo leaves as well, yeah. Roman is alone with all of this now. It's just him. Styles is having a little bit of cracks in his team. They're starting to not believe a lot in him anymore. Is he getting too old? These are very young guys. And maybe they know that he have this mastermind and he's very brilliant, but he's also getting older while these young guys are maybe better than him at this point. So at some point it all happens. They all turn on him. Street Profits and Theory, they join Roman, and suddenly Styles is all alone now. He is the underdog in all of this, facing a peak Roman Reigns. And we get to the match. It's still the match at WrestleMania. Styles versus Roman. Styles won the Rumble, but it's not the same guy that he was there. He's alone now. With a Roman Reigns that suddenly has a lot of guys on his side. But we get the match. Styles is against all odds, but at the end of the day, he beats Roman and ends Roman Reigns' crazy one. And Styles is the champion. One last time, he knows he will probably have to retire when he loses it. But he got this title win one last time, probably.
I am so conflicted because on one hand, you know me, I am a massive AJ Styles fan. Like I would say, not like all time, like in history, but like all time from when I started watching wrestling, AJ Styles is my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
But you know him as world champion, like dethroning Roman Reigns, that's crazy. Well, you know, I like bald. That's why we're here. We're not gonna play it safe. We're gonna go all the way.
Can I say something with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say that I know and I'm happy with this, but it was difficult because I'm trying to keep it very, very true to reality. And we just saw Styles versus Rollins, and I wanted Styles as champ, so I had to go with Roman. Is it necessarily the best option to have Styles beat Roman? I don't know, but I think this was a fun little, very bold prediction that's clearly not happening.
I enjoyed it. So, as Jordan's lawyer, I will be representing him. So, Jordan's idea for AJ is that he should play into this current veteran status. He shouldn't fall for the conventional heel plays that like the other guys do. Like, for example, if a guy's entrance team plays like to distract him, he doesn't really fall for that. Like if a manager's screaming at him, he doesn't fall for that. Like he's smart. He's been in this business for decades. He always has something to one up heels and promos. He's like essentially playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He counters complicated moves. He's a veteran. Like he's done this for a long time. Jordan would have him win the Elimination Chamber match, which would allow him to challenge and win the world's title from either Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, or Finn Balor. Now, to put my little spin on this, since I'm reading this, I think Balor would be the best story for that. Like, for one, you're having Styles go through this route of like, hey, he's essentially a wrestling mastermind. He's done this for decades at an elite level. He's beaten the best there is to beat. He's been an underdog. He's been a cowardly heel. So he doesn't fall for the tricks. And he doesn't fall for the tricks that the Judgment Day present AJ Styles. And not only that, but you have the this Bullet Club rivalry between them. Like ex-Bullet Club leaders. Now this is the Triple H era. You can fully lean into that. Like, you took over what I created. You wouldn't even be in this company if I didn't create that stable that we used to lead, because your run in Japan is what lets you getting this opportunity. Like, I don't know if that's completely true, but like it has to be a part of it, because after his TNA run, he didn't go to WWE, he went to New Japan. And the New Japan run is kind of what led to him going to the WWE. You know, I think they could have a great Mania match, a lot of callbacks to their history. Maybe, and this is just me, you know, spitballing here, maybe have Finn Balor or AJ Styles hit moves from the other Bullet Club leaders in the match. Maybe have one of them hit a Blade Runner. Maybe have one of them hit a One-Winged Angel. Maybe have one of them hit whatever David Finley's finisher is. I have no idea. But like, yeah, I think this is a very good idea from Jordan. Like, AJ Styles he's an all-time favorite of mine. So to see him kind of dethrone a name like Balor, Priest, Seth, I'm going for Balor here. I think it would present something very, very fun. Like a very fun thing for like the hardcore fans, because you have Roman on his island of relevancy. Let's say he's facing off Cody Rhodes. Maybe Rhodes finds his way back to SmackDown. So that's the Mania stuff for Rhodes and Roman. Whereas over here, you have the Mania stuff being like the hardcore fans. So like overall, as like the outsider here who's kind of representing Jordan, I will have to say Jordan's idea is based more on reality, but it's a lot more simple, you know? It's like fun, simple stuff, whereas Andrew is stuff that really makes you go like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. Like, it's a very, and I mean this is like a compliment, it's a very like craft TV type thing.
Yeah.
But you know, we're here to have fun, so like, I really enjoy like just going like crazy fantasy booking ideas, and as an AJ Styles fan, like a huge AJ Styles fan, if that happened, would it be the best booking idea? No. Would I personally enjoy it? Hell yes.
Really.
So we're gonna go next to Cedric Alexander. This is one I was very excited to put on the list because I'm a big Cedric Alexander fan. What's your pitch for Cedric?
Okay, so mine is. Hold up, I'm getting it here. So mine is that he started off with Shelton Benjamin. They're kind of trying it all out as a tag team a little bit. See whatever can happen with that. Like it we have tried a lot with Cedric already in the past. He's at a position where he just needs to try stuff out now. And this is a little bit of a thing they have tried. They're trying that for a few weeks. But it just gets to a point where Cedric and Shelton realizes that this is the past now. And Shelton, for one reason or another, just gets too much of this and attacks Cedric. Cedric is all alone now. He don't really get his momentum back with that. He don't really get Shelton again. Shelton is going his own race before retiring. So Cedric is just now at a point again where he's all alone. But he starts trying to come back up. He gets some smaller matches on Raw. He gets some wins there. A little bit of momentum. And then he starts getting some bigger matches against guys like Balor, Damian Priest, all kind of like big names. And every time he get like a match or a contenders match or anything like that, a gauntlet match or anything, he always loses right before getting that title shot or that big shot at something. But then it gets to a point where he starts building himself up. He gets this momentum. The fans are starting to get behind him. We are kind of back to the Cedric from 2018, where he won at WrestleMania, won the Cruiserweight title. We have this momentum. The guy that in the Cruiserweight tournament was the guy that everyone wanted to see. That's the Cedric we are getting. He's so close every time, but never quite gets there. He gets to a Battle Royale match. Gunther has been IC champ for ages at this point. I don't even know when in the future this is. But Gunther is still the unbeaten IC champ. Cedric, he gets in this Battle Royale. He's so close to getting thrown out all the time. But at the end of the day, he wins that. And is going to face Gunther. But right after Cedric wins his match, of course, Imperium comes out, attacks him, all that kind of stuff. And for the next couple of weeks, they keep attacking him. They keep, this mental games towards him, towards his career, about how he was never good enough. He has been there much longer than Gunther. Look at how good Gunther has been now. The only thing Cedric really won was the Cruiserweight title, and that was also ages ago at this point. So we get to that match. Gunther it's the typical David versus Goliath match. Gunther is on top of all this, but the fans just keeps cheering for Cedric. They know he has this, and he keeps going, and at the end of the day, he somehow ends up actually beating Gunther and becomes the IC champ. This is the biggest moment of his career. He did something completely impossible, also because this is not just winning the IC title, this is beating Gunther of all people. So he gets this underdog story, kind of Daniel Bryan, stuff, this very underdog, and the fans is behind him, supporting him, and he finally, after everything he's been through, it all starts with Shelton leaving him, all of that leading up to him winning the IC title. That's mine.
Other than Sheamus and Ilya, the names I always pitch to dethrone Gunther are the underdogs. Names like Johnny Gargano, names like Mustafa Ali, names like Cedric Alexander. I think Gunther works really well with these type of people, and I think you can get like an Eddie Guerrero, not like exactly because Eddie was like crazy over. And of course, it's a legend, but like a similar reaction, like in the same category as Eddie Guerrero beating Brock Lesnar. Not in the sense that you're going to get the exact same reaction, because no disrespect to Cedric, he's no Eddie Guerrero, but like in the same like, I can't believe this happened. This kind of small, very athletic dude beats this complete unstoppable monster. You like, while you're watching it, when that tree hits, you know you're witnessing history. And that's why I liked this so much. And you kind of kept this like in the bounds of realism, where it wasn't just overnight Cedric Alexander just started winning, beats Gunter in a month and stuff like that. It's like it was a story that spanned months of Cedric kind of getting betrayed and fighting his way from this position that he's in, and getting matches against big names and losing, always coming up short, but always getting experience and getting better. So I'm a big fan of that pitch. Now, as Jordan's lawyer, I'm going to read his. So, Jordan's pitch for Cedric, or as he wrote, Cendric, is to run him back. He had the same chosen idea, but like a bit different in the sense that instead of like a betrayal, and instead of them teaming up, it will be run him through NXT. Have Cedric go back to NXT, but this time have Shelton, instead of being his tag partner, being his manager, giving his experience to Cedric Alexander. And this is where he would kind of Jordan Rose finds his sharpness back, but I'm going to say this is where he finds that dog in him. This is where he becomes the man. So just have him like run like if you really want a guy like Cedric to get over on the main roster or in NXT in this case, like just in general, the key formula to this is have him have bangers. Just have him like every single week steal the show. Have him steal the show against names like Ilya Dragunov. Have him steal the show against names like Mustafa Ali, who we've seen him work with in the past. Yeah?
Yeah, just to say that with Cedric, exactly what you're saying is so true. That's what made him so big in the Cruiserweight tournament they had, where he was getting so over because of amazing matches he had.
Yeah. Like, absolutely, you're completely right. And, have him work names like Tyler Bate, Axiom, like Nathan Frazier, all of these guys. And after this, like, this can kind of lead to him going back up to the main roster and keeping up that rhythm. Like, he went down to NXT to kind of find that sharpness back, to work with these guys and really find himself again. And after this, you can kind of transition into Cedric, going to the main roster and working with names like Gargano, working with names like Chad Gable, Mustafa Ali, who I guess we get to call back up, Ricochet. They could have like a complete banger. And Jordan kind of had the same mentality, not exactly dethroning Gunter, but like eventually after the story, which will presumably take months, he can go after that IC title. And the IC title has really been the Workweight Championship of the WWE since Gunter held it. So let's say in this scenario, Ilya dethrones Gunter. And you can kind of have the story of maybe Cedric Alexander got a win over Ilya in NXT and be like, hey, I beat you and I can beat you again. And have Ilya just barely defeat Cedric Alexander. Like, skin off his teeth. Like, Cedric Alexander, he's got so much more experience on the big stage, on the WWE stage, on the main roster. Like, Ilya, he's been doing this for a long time, but like in front of like thousands of people, Cedric's got his head straight, and he got his sharpness back in NXT. And have Cedric be like, you just barely beat me. Let's run it back one more time. Let's end this trilogy. We're one apiece. And Cedric Alexander wins the match. Maybe I'm just saying. Maybe you can give Ilya a bit of justification. Have Shelton Benjamin maybe cost Ilya. And Cedric Alexander can continue to have these bangers on the main roster with the IC title. Run through the names that we've already mentioned, maybe some more. Maybe have a few bangers with Sheamus, The list goes on and on. The roster is impressive. We're just going to be naming names for hours if we continue. And then you can have Ilya kind of transition into a main event role. Of course, he has that Gunter one on him, so like he can transition really easily, and he's arguably one of WWE's best. So I'd love to see it personally. So like overall, both ideas kind of rely on the IC title, which I really like because I think it's the best title for Cedric. He's not a world champion, at least at this level. I don't think so. And the US title kind of seems to be more of the sports entertainment title in the WWE. Like, you look at the names holding it, it's Austin Theory right now. Like, even names like, and these are great names, but names who held it like recently, like Bobby Lashley, for example, they're not like work rate guys, yeah?
Yeah, I personally for me, I went with Icy because I'm going with this from Cedric being on Raw. So that's the reason for that. But I very much agree with you when I think about it. Cedric beating Gunther would be a much more impactful, or even Ilya. Just someone on that kind of level would be much more impactful than if he beaten Theory, because that as a match doesn't really have the same star feeling to it as like this would be a great matchup, and it just feels much like a much more a moment for him beating someone like Ilya or Gunther with that kind of storytelling that we're doing.
Absolutely, and we're gonna take a detour now. We've said what we can do in WWE. We said it with Cedric Alexander. We've said it with AJ Styles. Now we're gonna go from Raw, SmackDown, NXT. We've covered everything there is to cover to the land of the elite, and we're gonna go with Keith Lee. How would you rescue Keith Lee's career, Andy?
That's a good question. So what I will do is that for I think it's important that for Keith to move on, and that comes to both him and his opponent. All of this, him and Swerve are both so talented, have so much potential, but there is some kind of feeling of those two need to end that. They need to get that rid of both their mindsets so they can move on to greater things as they deserve. So they will continue having this kind of, not matches, but like interfering a little bit when they see each other. Kind of, you can feel that kind of tension when you watch the TV. If they are there at some point or in an interview or something, not direct interfering in each other or attacking or anything, but that kind of a little bit of like there's something tension here. And we get to a point where that culminates in a match. They fight each other. Keith Lee wins that match. This is the end. Swerve is done with that. Keith Lee won that. And Keith is at a point where he knows he has something. He finally got rid of this. It's about time that he moves on. It's about time that he gets to the potential that he can get. So he continues. He doesn't need help. He's not a guy that needs affection or anything, not in my opinion at least. He just knows that this was everything that he needed. I can see that there's something interesting going to happen with that. But okay, fair enough. In my opinion, he doesn't need that. He just needs to do this on his own. He needs to be that the people's champion guy, that beast, everything that he can be. Like that is Keith Lee, a mix of an absolute powerhouse beast that's amazing in the ring, but on the mic has this feeling of the Rock kind of this people's champion, that charisma he has. He's a mix of everything of that, and he has the potential to do that. So he gets big matches. We're talking Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, all these kind of guys. Even goes to Ring of Honor sometimes and faces a little bit there against guys like Samoa Joe. Not title matches or anything, but just big matches for him to really get going. And it culminates in we are getting to Double or Nothing. There is the Casino Battle Royale match. Keith Lee is in that. He wins that and gets a title opportunity later against MJF. He gets that. He has shown that now he is there. And this is going to be interesting because that's two really good guys on the mic in very different ways. So their promo battles will be really interesting. When we get to the match, and Keith Lee is this powerhouse, MJF pulls all his tricks, but at the end of the day, Keith Lee wins. He is the new world champion. He finally did it. And again, it had a lot to do with getting these big matches after Swerve. it all come back to he needed that out of the way. He needed that done for good. He could move on, get big matches, get big wins against guys like Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, Joe, so on. He wins Double or Nothing, beats MJF, is the new champion, and he is the guy ending MJF very long title reign at this point because it's clearly next year Double or Nothing. So yeah.
You know, like, for some people, you mentioned Keith Lee as the AEW World Champion, and then I can already tell some are gonna be like, that's a bit too much, you know, like this prestigious championship and Keith Lee goes after it. But like, my counter to that is, this is the same man who made Brock Lesnar gasp. This is the same man who took Roman Reigns to the limit at Survivor Series. This is the same man who was a double champion in NXT, beat Adam Cole, who's a top star on on AEW now. And it's like, I don't know if he can, yeah?
Yeah, I just want to say with that, firstly, I absolutely believe that Keith Lee can be at the top. I have no doubt about that. The thing is, how is he booked? And is in my way, if you just look at Keith Lee, my way of booking this is not necessarily the right way at all. But I believe that Keith Lee absolutely can be there. He has showed that in WWE. Survivor Series, that match was amazing also. Where he was facing with Roman Reigns in that elimination match there. He did a great job there. I absolutely believe he can be there. But how we are going to get to there, are we ever going to get there? That's the question. Yeah, for me at least.
There is like this one elephant in the room, which is Keith Lee has had a lot of health problems during his, like, the past few years. So like, you know, this is like kind of subjective to if he's recovered from those. Because we don't really know, and it's none of our business really, you know, like, I'm not like, you know, waiting to know, checking the internet every day. It's a man's personal life, so if he doesn't want to reveal that, that's okay. But like, if Keith Lee has recovered, which I do pray he does, because he has a lot of potential if he has, then I absolutely believe he can go for the World Championship. And I believe he can win, and I think that there's a great story of Keith Lee versus MJF. Transitioning now from that story to Jordan's, as the Saul Goodman to Jordan's Walter White. Jordan's pitch would be to turn him into a mega aggressive heel, and we've kind of seen ideas of this, not in the sense that he's been a heel, but ideas of what he can do as an aggressive heel, because like we've seen him pounce Adam Cole like through the crowd. We've seen him like kind of rise up on the apron like, oh boy, you've messed up now, Keith Lee's going to kill you. And like, I can just like imagine this scenario where, let's say he's going after, I don't know, Adam Cole, you know, and like have him like pounce Adam Cole through a window shield of a car during an interview, like when he's just like entering the building. Like have him kind of rise up from hell, I suppose, wherever, like the way the camera like positions itself when he does that like rise, like to kind of face this guy, like have him like do that, like absolutely obliterate a beloved babyface. I think you can do a lot with that. And anyways, continuing this, like have him like be like always aggravated, like always pissed off, but it's like scary. It's terrifying that he's like this, because this isn't like a dumb monster. Keith Lee has established that he is a smart man in the way he talks and the way he presents himself. So like, he's not like a, for lack of a better term, a dumbass heel. He's playing a game. He's playing chess with people's lives. He's using people as pawns to get over this game. And playing this game gets him into an All-Atlantic Championship match where he squashes Orange Cassidy, which I think is a great story, because this isn't making Orange Cassidy look weak. The story of Orange Cassidy's run thus far is Orange Cassidy's body is breaking down with these constant matches every week. He can barely do it, and have Keith Lee, the smart man that he is, absolutely obliterates Orange Cassidy. Let's say we go back to the throwing in the car. How about we say that's Orange Cassidy? How about every single week he obliterates Orange Cassidy? Orange Cassidy just gets a big defense, Keith Lee comes out, rises up from the hell that he wasn't before. Or again, wherever he rises up from. I don't know how they do it. The camera work is impeccable. And have him absolutely obliterate Orange Cassidy. Have Orange Cassidy do an interview and have him go through a car window. Have Orange Cassidy like walking down the ramp and have him just get pounced into the crowd. Like, have Keith Lee play this game with Orange Cassidy's body. And Orange Cassidy's like, I've had enough of this. I want to face you in a one-on-one match. And Keith Lee, Brock Lesnar 2014 style, destroys Orange Cassidy. Have Cassidy just gasping for air in the match. Like, as soon as the match begins, Keith Lee runs towards him, squashes him in the corner, then runs the ropes, pounces him. 1-2, kick out. Orange Cassidy tries to get up, gets hit with the power bomb. 1-2, kick out. Like, Cassidy trying his best to fight, but he can get no offense in this man because he's so exhausted, and eventually Keith Lee gets that win, and he just has this smirk on his face as Orange Cassidy is laying on the ground beneath him. But Keith Lee, he's not done there. He picked on a man who, for lack of a better term, was broken. He went for a broken man, a man who was broken physically. And now he's going to have to face guys who aren't like that, who can fight back. So Keith Lee, he goes in a bit of a recruiting, he goes to recruit people from his past. First he recruits Shane Taylor, like a guy who he used to be in a tag team with in Ring of Honor before his WWE days. He then recruits names from NXT like Kyle O'Reilly. He, goes to the hospital or maybe goes to his home. I don't really know the status of Kyle O'Reilly, and says hey, I'm gonna unleash that monster in you. I'm going to unleash the killer instinct that you have. Have him go to Mercedes Martinez in Ring of Honor. Have him just scout talent and with the Atlantic Championship around his waist, with these names surrounding him, always kind of making sure that championship stays around his waist. The championship is always going to be with him. If, let's say he's going up against another monster, like a Wardlow, for example, who's going after that title. Just an example. Who can fight his power. That's when you have a Kyle O'Reilly interfere. Maybe before the match, Kyle O'Reilly attacks his leg. He's a submission style wrestler. Maybe have Shane Taylor when the referee's down, kind of double team him with Keith Lee. And just build this championship winning force, because the one benefit of having so many titles is you can have all of these guys hold championships and then not be the main thing of your company. You can have Mercedes win the Ring of Honor Women's Championship way down the line once the Athena era is over, and once she can dethrone a babyface for it, or maybe even the TBS Championship. You can have Kyle O'Reilly win, let's say, the TNT title, or let's say the Pure title in Ring of Honor. You can have Shane Taylor win the television title in Ring of Honor, which he has so much history with. So overall, Jordan's idea, I'm a fan of it. I'm a very big fan of dethroning Orange Cassidy. The faction, in my opinion, I like it. People of his past, but I'm kind of in the same boat that a monster like Keith Lee doesn't need a faction per se. I think he does better on his own. But I don't think there's a problem with getting names. I think Kyle O'Reilly can get on TV whenever he wants, but names like Shane Taylor and Mercedes Martinez can't really get on TV. So this would benefit them a lot more than it would benefit Keith Lee, which isn't a bad thing per se. And leading a faction always gives you this aura about you. So it's not the worst thing, but not how I would have personally done it. So overall, those were our pitches. Did you like them? Who did you like more? I've been representing Jordan for this one. Jordan, who you can find, I'm going to try to remember his Twitter, @Nightshade, @Nightactivity. If you follow me on Twitter, my Twitter is going to be down below. You can just look at that. It will be my pinned tweet for the next few days, and they will @him. And Andarell, is there any place that I can link you to, or?
I have an Instagram. You know what? Let's talk about that for the future. But I have Instagram and all of that. But yeah.
No need. He's a man of few websites. He's a private man. You can find me, as I said, @Cosk151. Thank you for joining us. Let us know if you like this idea, because we're trying out new things here. We want to be unique. We want to prove ourselves to you, the people. Like and subscribe for more. Have a good day.